Okay, we are live to talk pre-match before U.S. Women's National Team. If you're new here and people are trickling in, I'm on TikTok. I'm also on YouTube, so hence my eyes will do weird things where I'm looking at both. If you didn't get a chance to look at the starting lineup, I recommend you do. It's a different starting lineup than we're used to seeing. It is. I'm not really sure what we're going to get here. It's a lot of people who have very low caps and some no caps, and they haven't really played together before. So at a minimum, this is going to be entertaining. I really just can't wait to see it, honestly. But I also wonder if this doesn't set some of these people are not being set up for success. Like Izzy Rodriguez debut with an entirely new backline. That's not how I personally would want to make a debut, but I'm cutting in and out. Okay, wonderful. Love that. Thank you, Cassidy. Am I cutting in and out on TikTok too? Or am I just okay? Sounds good for me. Sam Meza, PR manager here. Sam Meza and Croy Start sounds very fun. It does. I just, I don't think Sam Meza is going to get a lot of help defensively, which concerns me just given that she's not going to get much help from the backline either, because this backline has not played together before. Backline chemistry is very important. So Lynn as captain. I know people seem very excited about Lynn as captain, which is great. I think I care less about the captaincy stuff than other folks do. Like I was like, oh, of course she is. But let's go USA. Yeah, let's do it. I'm excited. So this should be fun. And I think it's a good way to use this if you're going to have a second friendly against the same team and one that you frankly overmatched before. So last game they seemed to play with 2 6s, but Meza seems like the only one. Yeah, or I wonder if they're going to try to put, Moultrie back a little bit more. I can't see it being Croy. I could see wanting to see Moultrie deeper, but we'll see. Giselle, yeah, that injury announcement this morning was a bummer. I mean, I hadn't been keeping up with this on the roster end for Orlando, but it looks like Cariabello actually was out for, had been nursing something recently anyway. So I wonder if they brought her into camp just like hoping she'd get well enough to play, and then she wasn't going to. Surprised not to see Rose or Sonnet or some kind of other senior face. Yeah, I'm a little surprised not to see Rose just because it's her hometown game too. But I think Emma's got a vision for what she wanted to try. So, here we are. But I think you'll see Rose at some point, I have to imagine. Tiffany, thank you for the roses. Appreciate you. I like this for Moultrie, although I was surprised she was even called up, even despite no Europeans. She seems to be back, in the mix here, and she's been having a strong season for Portland. So Rose will most likely play the second half, right? I would hope, or I think she might at least get like 20 minutes. But even then, I'm going, if you want to see our strongest lineup against Canada, which I do think we're going to put out our strongest lineup against Canada, I have to think Rose is in that mix of the folks who are available, and I'm starting to get nervous about how many minutes she's getting. Thoughts on Sonnet overall? I can't tell if she's there at this point for versatility and leadership. She's playing pretty well at center back. With Tierna Davidson injured and out, for the foreseeable future, she is the starting center back right now. That's why she's there. It's not my favorite use case for her, but she's been doing it better than I thought she would. Do you think any thoughts on the Euro winners? I think this is going to be. I'll do videos on it, but I think it's going to be Germany's. I think it's just Germany's show this year. I don't really think anybody else is going to be close. But there are a couple teams I could see, sneaking in there. But to me, Germany are the runaway favorites right now. Excited to see Yasmin again. Yes. Emma experimental lineup for game 2 seems very on brand. This is the way to do it, though. Like I said, mixed feelings. I think it'll be fun to see so many different folks and see people get different opportunities. Again, you're not really being set up for success if you are, in particular, Izzy Rodriguez and Sam Meza. So I think that's just going to be tough. Thoughts on Lionesses winning their send-off game versus Jamaica 7-0? I think that the Lionesses are a strong team. I think Jamaica is, having a rough go right now. Thoughts on forward depth and who doesn't stay around? I think we're going to find out more today on that. Is this our B or a C squad? I would say it is a BC squad. It is a mixture of both. There's some folks here I would say are in the B, and then some I would say are in the C. Let's see. I imagine this will be chaotic, especially the first half. Yeah. Honestly, only super interested in the tourneys with Japan, Brazil, and the U.S. Maybe because that's all we play during international windows. At least we can watch Germany. I think this is going to be, Germany's going to be good. I think this will be fun to watch with Germany. I think there's a couple of teams that are going to be in the mix this year in the Euros that have not historically been in the mix. I expect Portugal to be a little more of a threat, and Italy as well. You know, those are the two teams I think that have not been on the radar historically that should be on the radar this time. But you never know. We've watched these teams play each other in Nations League so much. And sometimes when teams have just played each other a ton, you get really weird outcomes. So we will see. If Sears has a big game and I think makes things interesting, I think that makes things interesting because she hasn't performed much for us. Yeah, I think Sears needs a breakout game, or she's going to be getting the axe. Do you think there is something to do to say about Mandy going in this game where she will have something to do? Yeah, I do actually. I think that's a strong sign for Mandy that she's, you know, contending for the top, like the backup spot. I don't think she's GK1, but I think she's currently the front runner for GK2. Did we ever used to do these? Sorry, I put the camera in a place where I can't read the comments. Did we ever used to do these 3-game windows? I never remember them. Not really, no. It's been pretty strongly a 2-game window most of the time. But it made sense here when you've got the longer break. Interested to see what Sam's can do on the outside. Yeah, I mean, well, it's easier to break in on the outside. And again, you know, one of the reasons I do think she's been called in is that she can play both pretty well. So if you can at least get a strong showing on the outside where we don't have as much depth, like that's a really big win. So the funniest part to me of this all is, y'all, do you think she was supposed to be in this game? Because I think Giselle was supposed to start today. Like, I think they still weren't going to play Emily Sams. I think literally Giselle got injured and they had to. I think that's the only reason I think she wasn't going to get minutes again. Genuinely, that's what I think. This feels like a 3 back with Rodriguez moving more upward, similar to how they play with Dunn usually. Yeah, I could see that. And then, yeah, and Sam stays home more. 1,000% could see that. Really hoping Bug impresses as center back. She seems so calm and composed on the ball. Same goes for Meza, 2VH. Yeah, and that's, I guess, something to keep in mind is that those two obviously do play together and do have good rapport, so that could really help here. Okay, oh my God, the Rose billboard, yeah. Why did they bench all the great players? We got to see some other folks. We got to see some, and like we already saw what everybody else is doing against Ireland. You know, I mean, it's not our A team of the people available would just wall up Ireland again. That's not interesting for anybody. What happened with Aubrey and Jane? It seemed like Aubrey was doing so well. I mean, Aubrey had already kind of fallen out, and then she had a strong, you know, NWSL playoff run. So I think she could have been back in the mix, but I'm not surprised she's not. Let's see. First half score predictions. Y'all, I have no idea. This is not going to be straightforward. It really just depends on how long it takes us to get rhythm. Maybe this team has been, like this lineup has been working together in training and looks really good and it just flows. Maybe they've never played together before at all and we go down a goal. Like anything could happen. We could go up 3, we could go down 1. Like I don't think we're going to go down more than 1, but you never know. Who needs to be vocal in the back today? Well, I mean, I don't know which one of them is going to be calling the line. This might be a situation where your goalkeeper calls it. So I don't know. Wish we would have seen Gurma and Tara last game. Yeah, I would have liked to see that combo as well. If Gia Corley chooses US, would she even break in here considering her position is very difficult? No, I don't see her breaking in or having a shot at breaking in. She should choose Germany. What line are you most concerned about? Great question, Maya. I'm actually going to go midfield. I'm most concerned about this midfield just because I have not seen anyone here play defense besides Sam Meza, and I think that's going to be a challenge. But at the same time, obviously we watched Ireland, you know, does have the ability to get players in behind. They had a couple moments where they were able to do that last time, and part of why they didn't get too many moments is because I think our midfield really made it difficult to get that distribution. So we'll see. Bramblewood, thank you for the rose. Appreciate you. All right. Looking at the YouTube comments now. Bug looked fine in the last game. She did. But I think there were moments I didn't love her and Lily Reel's positioning together. Some spots there. But Bug also came in when we were already up 4 goals. Realistically, what is another center back in the U.S. Women's national team can call up if it's not Sam's? Sam Staub, I think would be interesting. She's playing well. You'll see the A team versus Canada for sure. Agreed. Are we assuming we're putting out the same formation as last game? Yeah. I mean, I don't think it'll be, to the extent you wanted to call that a 4-2-3-1, it won't be that because I just don't see. Unless you're really going to try Moultrie out of position, I don't see it. If Dickey starts against Canada, it means McGlynn is in the third position. I agree. And if Angelina Anderson starts against Canada, then we're just trying things out. Sad for the local people that Rose didn't start. She didn't play last time she was in town also. Oh, that's a bummer. Well, hopefully they get her on at least. Giselle had to go home 2 camps in a row. I still think she's a good shot, at least I hope. I mean, clearly they're very high on her because they keep bringing her in, even though, she's further down the chart and she's got some injury trouble. Worried about set pieces with this young team since they finally looked good last game. Yeah, I'm not thinking it'll happen. Oh, thank you, Bramblewood. I always love the hat and mustache. That's always a good one. Sam Meza plays for Seattle Reign. She's been very strong. And I think this is a particularly interesting arc for her because, obviously she went away to Dallas last year on a loan into the USL, got a lot of minutes there, has been then starting and thriving with Seattle, goes to U23 camp last time, does well enough that she's one of the few U23 players that came back in here. So this is somebody who I think is on a very strong rise, a good path. It's like really fun to see confidence being built. All right. William, greetings from Ecuador. Thank you. All right. I love how the U.S. women's national team is playing under Emma's coaching. I agree. I think she's fantastic. It's been really great, as opposed to the disappointment that is the men's side. I'm like, let's see. Score prediction. I ain't touching this one, y'all. I ain't touching this one. I'm not doing it. Let's see. Corey Bethune's back. Yeah, we're excited about that. Think any players who haven't been called up could still be in the 27 squad? Potentially, yeah, but I think it's going to be harder and harder. Like you would be talking about somebody having kind of a meteoric breakout, which absolutely could happen, or injury trouble. That could also do it. Is Corbin out? All the European players are out, except for Naomi Girma, who has to be called in. So I think Lynn is getting 2. I'd love to see it. We have a men's team. I know. We don't have to remind you, right? Thoughts on triple espresso? Looks like we have a ton of strikers. Yeah, we do. We're very deep at that position. I do not think it's a guarantee, even if healthy, that all 3 come back in the starting lineup. I don't. Or any, really. Okay, who are you keeping? Sears versus Ryan. I think Sears gives something different, potentially, but I haven't seen her play super well with country yet. If she can step it up to like what she's doing with club with country, I would take Sears over Yasmin Ryan personally. Are the European players locks to you? No. I do not. Do I think Corbin is out of the senior team for good? I think Corbin's going to have a hard time. Just because I think Corbin was kind of a Band-Aid for the 6'8", where she's not, that's not her best use case. And now you've got people coming in for the 6'8" that are way better than her, that are not Band-Aids, that are quite strong. So then she's competing at the 10, which is where she should be. But the 10 is, it's just rough, man. It's really rough to break into the 10 here. There's just too many good players. Who do you wish would have made the Swedish team that's not in it now? Schroeder is probably the one that I was a little bit, I would have liked to see, but even so, I'm okay. And then obviously Kafaji's injured, and that's a whole other drama. But I'm fine with the roster we have. I am still nervous for Sweden, and we'll talk more about that. I would have literally said, like, do not bet money on Sweden before the Denmark game. And now things, like, look better, right? And now I'm like, maybe we do got it. Maybe we do got it. I don't know. But I'll be here and stressed. Why after all this time are they trying Sam's right back? I think that's because Giselle got injured. That's why. And they didn't have a choice. I thought you were wearing a Chelsea jersey for a second. Absolutely not. Never in a million years. Let's see. Would this be our B or C team? I think it's a BC mix. I think if Rose performs how she did last game, that's her position, although she played the 9. I think she played very well last game. I think you got to keep in mind, though, Lindsay Heaps is not leaving this lineup, right? And I don't want to see her play anything other than the 10, frankly. Kat Macario, good luck displacing her, man. I want her in even just for the service. So, but that's the thing, right? That's when you talk about Corbin Albert and her making this roster, if you're going to ignore the rest of it and just talk about the football, like it's a rough go. It's just a rough go. Okay. What do you think about Lynn? I think I would not put Lynn as a lock to make the World Cup roster, but we also don't ever bet against Lynn leg sleeve. Live, laugh, leg sleeve. I don't know. Lynn, laugh, leg sleeve. However we're going to say it. All right. Oh, thank you, Amy. I appreciate the kind words. What's the earliest we see triple espresso again? No idea. this time next year, I guess theoretically could be possible. So, what's going on with Jane and Abby at Houston? I have no idea, honestly. Like it's been, and I don't like to see, the last thing I want to see is anybody playing mind games with goalkeepers. Do not play mind games with goalkeepers. It's not fair. Just not fair. So, okay, they're walking out. If you don't already follow me or subscribe, like, subscribe, follow, all those things. I will be back at halftime. I will be back post-match. Let's fucking go. All right, and YouTube, I always say bye to you second. See you at halftime.